Per Mitch Cleary, the Hawks have re-signed star Josh Weddle to a 4-year deal, meaning that he will now be out of contract at the end of 2030, and he's going to break some ground that Hawks fans might not be used to, and I want to talk about all of that in this video. So make sure you're going to like the video. Make sure you subscribe to join the Daz Talks Hawks family. We are building and hopefully reaching 1,000 as quickly as we can, already nearly at 650, which is kind of insane considering how short the lifespan of the channel is, and I appreciate all your support. Now, let's start with the overwhelming positive here, and everything in this video is going to be positive. There's just going to be some suggestion for fans come the end of it. But the positives to Josh is that the trajectory has been unreal. He's played 60 games already, which you love to see. That is the kind of base that Sam Mitchell has wanted and why we wanted to go through the soft reboot post-Alistair Clarkson. The fact that we're now able to build this young core under Mitchell means that we are hopefully going to keep this premiership window, or contendership window, if you will, as open as long as possible, and this is fantastic news. Wedle, Newcomb, Ward, all of these kinds of guys are going to be able to build and have built between 40 to 80 games of experience is only going to help lead this club forward, and he deserves all of this. And you even look at last year, I know that he didn't play as many games. He only played the 18 last year, which compared to some other players on the list that we want to see more of, that's actually a really good result, so maybe I was a little bit harsh there. He had career highs across the board. And again, some of these stats may mean nothing to you. They might mean something to you. That is A-okay. But he had career highs in Supercoach and fantasy points, which doesn't mean a whole lot to me, to be honest. But sure, we love that in a significant way. Rebound 50s, meters gained, and disposals. Inside 50s, contested marks, marks inside 50, average goals and score involvements. Contested ball, intercept possessions, ground ball, and loose ball, as well as tackles, pressure acts, ruck contest, hitouts, and that HTA is hitouts to advantage. Whether he's still going to be used as that pseudo ruck remains to be seen. Ned Reeves was pretty good in that practice game. I don't know why people are saying that he outdueled Meek. I think when the game was hot, Meek was still used as our number one ruckman, so maybe it was just exposure. I'm not too sure. But alas, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Josh. So that upwards trajectory is great. And this is where we kind of need to shift a little bit, I think, from the greatness of Josh and talk about fans and how we are reacting, or maybe going to react to this news going forward. Because this deal is going to be worth a lot of money, there is a massive chance that Josh is going to become a $1 million player for multiple seasons, and that is a number that Hawthorn fans have not really been exposed to a hell of a lot. I did a lot of research in the 2.5 hours that I spent between dropping my stepson off at school and recording this video, and I've really only been able to find as close to confirmation as I can of just 3 players in Hawthorn history to have been paid $1 million in a season: Lance Franklin, James Sicily, and Jai Newcomb this year. Now, there are some conflicting reports out there, some that say that other players are true, not true, which is why I left them off the list, but we are really new to this. You take into account a club like North, for example, who are paying Luke Davies-Uniacke approximately $1.2 million a year. Those are numbers that have not really hit the Hawthorn shores yet. Between us and maybe a Geelong, although a Dangerfield and a Jeremy Cameron have probably been around that mark whilst the salary cap has allowed that kind of $1 million player. Absolutely, but from what I've been able to find, guys like Joel Selwood and Tom Hawkins never did. So this is relatively new ground for us all, and that $1 million, I think, for those especially that don't follow other sports, and it's not bad if you don't, love what you love, doesn't bother me in the slightest, is that it's not a scary number as you think, right? Because there are just, it's a 1 and then 6 digits after it, the 6 zeros, obviously, that kind of brings some mystique. James Sicily was paid somewhere between the $850 and $975 mark last year via media reports. That could absolutely not be true. I can only go off the research that I've got on hand. And no one really, when he was going through down periods last year, of which there was more than one, really went, wow, we're paying X amount for this player. But as soon as $1 million comes into it, that's where the story goes. And I think a little shift in perspective there is going to be key. Let me explain what I mean using some numbers. Let me nerd out for 30 seconds. In the early 1990s, Dermott, Brereton, obviously, was getting paid approximately 120 grand against a 1.25 million salary cap, which means he took up on his own 9.6% of the salary cap. Now, granted, less players that had to be paid. I understand all of that there is going to be a shift here. However, even if the Wedle number is 1 million flat, and let's just say it was this year, or you could argue this is the same for Newcomb as well for this year, the current salary cap is over 18 million, and he would be getting one of them, which means that his salary cap hit is around the 5.5% mark, nowhere near the damage that you might think it is. And I also do understand that we live in a world, and I'm not going to get too political with this conversation because talking politics with people makes me want to jump off a roof, is that people do deserve to be paid more. Teachers, nurses, the list goes on, absolutely. Childcare workers, 100%. I'm not here to say that footballers deserve to be paid more, therefore, no one else should. That would be a ridiculous statement. And granted, the notion of overpaying players has happened for a long time. And because we've had such a balanced salary cap, that hasn't really affected us too much, whereas other clubs that have had to go big game hunting have fallen for this. We haven't. This is new territory in a significant way. But let me be clear. The average AFL payment last year exceeded 500 grand for the very first time. So here's my question to you. Is Josh Weddle twice the average player productively? I would say yes. Comfortably, that's where he is going. He has the traits, the skills, the footy IQ, and let's be honest, the flair. But the second half of that statement is where a lot of this can cause some ire amongst people, because we live in a world where we have to pay on potential. Absolutely we do. Because we don't have access to Brisbane and Gold Coast's academies, for example, Sydney's as well, is that overpaying is the nature of the beast. Now, granted, what we're doing to Josh Weddle is nowhere near what St Kilda have done to Tom de Koning, for example, and that Chris Fagan and St Kilda fight was mildly amusing, I'm not going to lie to you. But this is the way that the sport is going. Player empowerment has never been higher, and granted, the Hawks have never really had, well, I shouldn't say never. It's been really rare over the last 20 years, and success does this. We don't really have mass exodus. Like, seriously, who is the last champion to have left us and it turned out to be bad? Now, you could say Tom Mitchell left and we got worse. Yes, but did we lose that? Because look what happened since. Newcomb, Ward, Day, I know he's injured, got that 40 to 80 game gap. And as we sit here right now, post that trade and that decision, both of us lost a prelim last year. And Mitchell's game style does not, in the modern day, suit us at all. But Bud left, we won 2 more flags in a row, one against him. My point is that as footy evolves, building a core has changed a little bit. And the massive change has been money. The new TV deal means that money is always going to be a part of the conversation. And it's not about how you use your salary cap. The best thing you can do for balance now is not necessarily give pay cuts like what we did throughout the three-peat. It's what you can't do is have a bad extension. And there are plenty of examples of those. But 4 years on high money, even if we don't think Weddle's going to be worth that, and granted, I do very much, 4 years is actually the more important part of this story. Because if it is an overpay, if it is a struggle and the premiership window for some reason slams shut, we're not costing ourselves half a dozen years of salary cap squeezes. So if the million is something that is you are struggling to wrap your head around, I understand. I really do. It's new. New shit makes me angry. We have a supermarket near me that's changed the layout of its aisles. I hate it so much. So please don't think I'm saying you're stupid or an idiot for thinking this. You are absolutely not. But what I want to hope to avoid, and thinking a world where social media could be improved is probably naive, but kill me for being a dreamer. I think we need to settle down that if he does have an off day, piling on for this $1 million attitude, it's just not going to lead anywhere well. All of this is good. And Weds is a freaking star and the best 23 we've had since Bud. And that is pretty damn exciting. And how good was he launching off halfback in the match sim for those of you that that have caught up with it. And if you haven't, I do highly recommend checking out the Hawks, who did put a highlights package on their social media, and just check out the kick that Jai Newcomb did to Mitch Lewis, and tell me that you don't want to run through a fucking wall. So that's it, guys. What do you think of the Wedle re-signing? Comment below. Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. Join the Daz Talks Hawks family. You are absolute superstars. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Goodbye.